In this video, we'll be hunting a box of nickels. We'll be looking for anything older than 1960, including war nickels, buffalo nickels, or anything older. We'll also be looking for any foreigns, proofs, heirs or varieties, or any other cool things we can find. This box has one confirmed ender. Right here we have a 1941, and there's also a few more older looking reverses, so hopefully it's a good box. So let's start the hunt, and I'll bring you in when we have our first find. Roll 5, and I did get our first older Jefferson of the box, and it is a 1959 out of Denver that's pretty beat up. And a couple rolls ago, I didn't show it, but I'm 99% sure this 1962 Philly is a circulated proof. It's harder to tell on camera, but it definitely has the look of one of the older proofs. Definitely on the obverse, I whipped it down, it's a lot more obvious. But it's not in the best condition, definitely pretty circulated, but I'm pretty sure we got us a circulated Philadelphia proof, which is an awesome find. Roll 10 had a few more older Jeffersons. First is our first 40s nickel, a 1947 from Philly, then a couple from the 50s, 1952, also from Philly, and 1953, minted in Denver. Roll 14 had a couple more nickels from the 40s. These ones are a 1948 Denver and a 1949 from Philly. Roll 18, another older nickel. This time it's a 1958, minted in Denver. Roll 20, and we have the new oldest nickel of the hunt, and it is a 1941 out of Philly. Roll 21, another nickel from the 40s. This one is another 1947 Philly. Roll 23 had a couple more older Jeffersons. First is a 1946 out of Philly and a 1955 from Denver. Roll 24 was that 1947 ender, and it had one more find in the roll. The ender ended up being a 1947 from San Francisco, and it also had a 1957 from Denver. Next roll, and now we're halfway through the box, and we have another find from the 40s. It's our new oldest find of the hunt, a 1940 from San Francisco. Roll 28, just opened the roll, and it looks like we're going to have our first foreign of the hunt. It looks like a Canadian nickel, which it is, and it's from 1986. Roll 30, and we have a couple more finds. First is a 1948, minted in Philly, and a 1955 from Denver. Roll 34, and we have a 1942, which was a transition year from normal nickels to silver, and this, of course, is just a normal nickel, and it's out of Philly. Roll 35, another find from the 50s. This one is a 1956 out of Denver. Roll 38, a couple more older finds. First is a 1940 out of Philly with some odd colors on the reverse, and another 1956 out of Denver. Roll 40, and we have a nickel from 1951, and it is from Denver. Roll 43 had a few more finds. First is a 1941 from Philly, then a 1957 and a 1959, both from Denver. Next roll 44, a couple more finds. 1946 from Denver and 1959 from Denver as well. Once again, next roll 45, another 40s find. This one is a 1947 from Denver. Roll 49, another find from the 40s. This one is another 1940s San Francisco. Last roll of the box, and we have another find from 1941. This one is from Denver. And overall, this box wasn't too bad. We got a lot of older Jeffersons. We actually ended up filling all the spots on the board, as well as that 1962, which is probably a circulated proof, and one Canadian. But we didn't get any silver buffaloes, so I'm going to add another box onto this video, and it is right here. And I believe there might be an ender in that box, so let's hunt it, and hopefully we can get some good finds. First roll of the second box had two finds, one of which was actually an ender, and the ender was the 1955 from Denver, and a 1957 that's also from Denver. Roll 6, and we have the first 40s nickel of the second box, and it is a 1941 from Philly. Roll 9, and we have the first one of the second box and second of the overall hunt, and it's going to be another Canadian nickel, it looks like, which it is, and it is a 1989. Roll 11, and we have a pretty nice 1959 minted in Philly. Roll 17 had a couple more finds, which were a 1940 from Philly and 1955 from Denver. Roll 20 had a couple more finds. First is just a common 1957 Denver, and that roll also had a 1942 from Denver non-silver nickel, and I have not found very many 1942 Ds, and it's been a while since I've gotten my last one. It's not a semi-key date, but it's definitely something you don't see very often, so that is an awesome find. Roll 22, and we have yet another 1957 from Denver. Roll 23, a couple of 40s finds, and they are 1941 and 1946, both Philadelphia. Roll 25, halfway point of the box, and we have another 1959 minted in Denver. Roll 28, another find from the 50s, this one a 1954 Denver. Next roll, yet another find from the 50s. This one, a 1952 from Philly. Roll 32, another nickel from the 40s. This one is a 1940 out of Philly. Roll 38, another find from the 50s. This one's a little bit better than the other ones, though, because it is a 1951 Denver. Next roll, and we have yet another 1957 out of Denver. Roll 42 had a few finds. A 1940 from Philly, and a 1958 and 1959, both out of Denver. Just opened roll 44, and we're going to have the third foreign of the hunt right here, and it's another Canadian nickel from 1987. Roll 45, another find from the 40s. This one is a 1941 from Denver. Next roll, and this time we have a 1940, also from Denver. Roll 48, another find from the 50s. This one, a 1956 out of Philly. Roll 49 of box 2, and roll 99 of the overall hunt. And it took 99 rolls to finally get our first 30s nickel of the hunt. It's a 1939. If it has a mint mark, it's a key date. And of course, it's not. It's just a common 1939 Philly, and it's not the DDR, but at least we finally got a 30s nickel. Second box has been hunted, so let's go over the finds. We ended up with 16 S-mints, 3 foreigns, all Canadians from the 80s. Then older Jeffersons we got every year from 1939 through 1959, except for the 1950 and all the war nickel years, but at least we did get a lot of variety. Unfortunately, no silver buffaloes. I thought we'd get at least one in 2 boxes, but none, which was pretty unlucky. And then in the first box, we did get that 1962, which I'm pretty sure is a circulated proof. Hard to tell on camera, but it kind of has the look of a circulated proof. Might be, might not be. Either way, it's pretty nice shape. And even though we didn't get any great finds, it was still a good hunt because of all the older Jeffersons.